All right, so let's talk interiors before we move around to the crawl space. Overall, the interior is fine. A little bit of drywall cracking, some tape joint separation. That's pretty normal with a house that's constantly breathing and moving. I didn't see any structural concern. Floor framing felt really good. Flooring, look, the flooring has been recently replaced, or fairly recently replaced. I suspect that has something to do with our moisture related issues that I'll talk about in the crawl space. But back into the interiors, there were a few window issues. We had a couple of we had one window in the rear right corner keeping room that wouldn't close completely and latch. And then there were multiple windows around that back keeping room, breakfast room, that when you raised them and tilted them, they just fell out of the tilting mechanism. So there's something wrong with the counterbalances of those windows. These windows do appear to be original to me. I don't have any way of knowing that exactly, but they definitely appear original. And so they're moving up on their typical applicable life. But you'll be surprised, there was no thermal seal damage. I didn't see any thermal seal damage at any of the windows, which is really a shock for a home inspection.
Yeah.
Bathrooms, kitchen, good. The water flow was okay when I was running it individually. We ran bathrooms, sinks, showers, tubs, all at the same time simultaneously, and the water flow was restricted a little bit. But as soon as we started shutting them off, water flow picked back up. So the water flow is good. The condition of the water was good. There is a whole house filtration and softener system in the crawl space. I don't inspect those, but definitely looks like it's working because the water quality was good on the inside. So let's walk around to the back of the house and let's talk crawl space. I'll probably need your, oh, that's a termite bait station.
Yeah, I pointed that out to them when we came.
Okay, good. I figured you knew that. HVAC system is a 2016. Yeah, 2016, so it's relatively newer. It's the newer Freon, so that's a good system. It works great. Full house generator, propane tanks, that's obviously for the fireplace.
In the disclosure.
I forgot I locked it.
We need the key. Oh.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it. You want to just talk about it?
Sure.
We'll talk about it. So I was actually going to go inside and do the video from inside the crawl space a little bit, but I did lock it back in preparation to leave. But overall, the crawl space does have dew point problems. In other words, it's condensing. The HVAC equipment's dripping. The ductwork is dripping. The water piping is condensing. So what is occurring in this crawl space, and it almost has the look that the homeowner was doing like a DIY project of an encapsulation. They put a new vapor barrier in there that's a little thicker than normal. It's roughly a 10 millimeter vapor barrier. We normally use 6. And there is a dehumidifier in the crawl space. Currently the dehumidifier is unplugged and not running. But, which doesn't surprise me because all these foundation vents are open and allowing the warm, humid air in. There's no point in running a dehumidifier if you're introducing warm, humid air, because you're basically going to run that dehumidifier 24/7. And it's only like a Lowe's store-bought dehumidifier. It probably doesn't even work. So the dehumidifier is kind of worthless really to this crawl space. This crawl space has roughly 30% moisture, which is extremely high. Today it's probably in the mid to high 80s with about 70% humidity. I would have expected to see probably around 18 to 20% wood moisture, and we were getting 25 to 30%. And clearly the conditions in the crawl space is very damp and wet. And so you are going to need some crawl space remediation. Me personally, I think what you probably are going to need is some mechanical ventilation. That would be the most economic choice at this point, or full encapsulation if you really just wanted to eliminate crawl space moisture conditions as a issue altogether. That is the only way to eliminate any kind of elevated moisture. But typically in the Carolinas, I mean, crawl spaces breathe and are just fine. They're not necessarily all candidates for encapsulation. It's just in this case, I just don't know if there's enough ventilation, or if the HVAC equipment is got some leaks around the ducts, and that conditioned air is mixing with the warm, humid air, and that's what's condensing. Either way, we're gonna need to have somebody, a crawl space remediator, come look at it and figure out why this crawl space is condensing the way it is, because that elevated moisture is going to lead to wood rot and decay of your floor framing. I don't see that today, but I can't promise you in the next few months, if nothing's done, that won't develop. That's my opinion, that it's coming.
Question: the mechanical option that you were talking about, what does that entail?
So there's a couple of things you can do in crawl spaces. You can make sure all the vents are open. You can put a nice vapor barrier. And you can allow passive ventilation, which is how this one's set up. That obviously is not working, and it could be because of the issues with the HVAC. It could be that there's some water intrusion that I can't see at the front porch, like we talked about. There's a number of reasons that could be elevating it. If you didn't want to go that route, the passive route, you could go. It's called an ATMOX system. And what that does is they install a series of mechanical fans in these foundation vents, and it blows air through the crawl space, and that manages the crawl space moisture levels. That's a more economic way of attacking elevated moisture levels. And then the Cadillac of crawl spaces is the encapsulation, which basically you would seal all these foundation vents from the inside. You wouldn't allow any passive ventilation. You would seal the walls, the piers. There would be no chance of moisture seeping in, and then you would put a dehumidifier, a commercial grade dehumidifier, to manage any moisture. That's the Cadillac system. You're probably looking at $15,000 to $20,000 to do this house, whereas the ATMOX system is probably a few thousand.
Okay.
So that's kind of your options. And I'm not a remediator, so I'm not trying to sell you on coming over here and doing the work, but I definitely have contacts if you want to go that route in this area, because you might not have the same contacts for this area like I do. So those are the highlights. The report is a lot more thorough than that, but those are the major issues that we've uncovered.
Okay. Awesome.
Sweet.